To experience deeper states of love, you need to make space for experiencing deeper states of all your emotions. This is a very tantric practice or a tantric way of looking at things in order to enhance deeper intimacy and love in your life. Your sexual expression is about embracing all of who you are, and it's also about tapping into your self-realized potential. Sexual energy is the central foundation of life force energy, and when you're able to tap into that energy on a meta, multi-dimensional scale of things, you're then able to tap into the profound energies of all of existence within the universe. And part of that practice is being able to experience deeper layers of your emotional states. And so when I say emotional states, I'm not just talking about experiencing more joy or deeper amounts of joy. I'm talking about how you build a relationship with your anger or your rage, how you show up for your grief or for depression, how you choose to experience confusion and delusion or disarray and chaos. All of these emotional experiences, these feelings of overwhelm or off-centering emotions, when you're able to go deeper with these emotions and actually build a conscious relationship with them, you're then able to choose how these emotions dictate your experiences in your life. So a lot of the times, I think what happens is we feel victim to our emotional states. We let our emotions take the reins of our experience, and we let them decide for us how we're going to respond to our circumstances. This is only responding from one aspect of our brain and our consciousness that isn't fully taking responsibility of how we can tune into our empowered choice around how we choose to navigate our circumstances. So to align our power back into our center, what we can do is we can build a relationship, because everything within us, every cell, organ, emotion is a consciousness, has a consciousness. And when you're able to then see the emotional states as consciousness or as pieces of consciousness, you might be able to give them a voice, or you might be able to see them as a picture of some kind or an object, or you might sense how that emotional state is feeling. And it might be weird to think that you are experiencing an emotional state in how you're feeling, but that emotional state has its own feeling. So the reason why this happens is because generally emotional states show up when we're not being met in some way. And sometimes these emotional states carry on throughout the years in our experience from our childhood or even from past life, and they carry a certain resonance. And within that resonance, it morphs and forms and gets stuck in our body and in our cellular DNA, and then it continuously pops up when there's an experience or a memory or some kind of circumstance that reminds that emotion of how it feels. So perhaps in your childhood you felt ignored or unacknowledged, or you always felt taken over to. And as a result, in your body, you felt unseen, unheard, unacknowledged, and that made you feel a certain way. Maybe it made you feel dampened or depressed or angry. And so that emotion then imprints itself in the way that we carry our bodies and the way that we build a story around how that experience has made us feel. And then whenever we come across something in our life or in our relationships that remind us on a cellular level of that initial... That's not gonna go back up on the wall again, so we'll just leave it the way it is. Okay, let's see, where was I? of that initial experience, it will then spiral back to that original story, and that original story will then become part of your present moment. And that sometimes isn't beneficial for us, because then we spiral down into these stories that were created from all these different imprinted experiences. And sometimes they carry such a strong hold on the way that we're able to consciously choose a different thought or a different feeling or a different belief, that then we start feeling disempowered when we experience that emotion. So the more that we can tap into building a more intimate, deeper relationship with our emotional states, find out the need around why you feel sad, or why you feel angry, or why you feel confused. What do you need in those moments in your current reality? And when you're able to figure out what those needs are, you can learn to listen deeper to how that emotion, the gift of that emotional experience, everything that feels challenging or like an obstacle or that doesn't feel very good is actually a gift in disguise. These are teachers within our life experiences, and the more we can listen to what their teachings are, to the inner wisdom that is hidden within why these pieces show up, the more we can learn to love these pieces. And then the more we learn to love these pieces, the more they become part of our wholeness. We integrate them back from being fragmented and overpowering our experiences. We learn to recognize them for what they are and why they exist, then be able to consciously tap into the choice around, do I want to give this experience or this belief behind this experience power? Or do I want to feel and choose something different for myself? And when you're able to do that, you then feel whole within your experience because you have more empowerment. You have more inner freedom. And when you have more inner freedom, this is a tantric liberation. This is a form of tantric liberation. It is part of the very essence of why we do and feel and live by tantric philosophy. And so when you self-liberate, you then can learn to embody those emotional pieces differently in your cellular experience, and then even add that as fuel, creative life force fuel to your sexual power and your sexual energy. And once you do that, once you combine the two together, it will enhance your sexual sovereignty, your sexual power. It will enhance the wholeness of your sexuality and your sexual expression because you've embraced more of your wholeness. And that can be so beautiful to witness in the bedroom or in life, or when you are working with coworkers. Sometimes it can feel scary to share our vulnerability, but oftentimes people admire people being real and people being vulnerable and people showing more of their true colors. So embracing the fullness of your emotional spectrum will allow you to embrace the fullness of your sexual spectrum, and will allow you to embrace more of who you are when you embrace more of your emotional states and you build deeper relationships with these pieces. And it will enhance your sexual wholeness, and it will be of service to the way you believe about yourself and your choices, the way you make decisions, the way you navigate your boundaries, or the way that you power yourself with your desires, because you have more control and empowerment to how your experiences show up when you recognize how your emotional being is playing into all of that. So if you haven't yet already, hit the like and subscribe button. Feel free to share in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.